Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. Friends, today we have 6 stories out of the Entitled People subreddit. Let's begin. Our first story is posted by Interesting Mall 8958. Entitled family trespasses in my pasture. So, this happened a few years back, and I happen to remember this event, so I thought I'd share it with all you beautiful folks out there. Sorry for the poor formatting, as I'm stuck on mobile for a while, and I also apologize for the length of the story. So first, let me give you some background to help you understand a few things. So I run a cattle operation that I took over from my now deceased father. I have a little over 100 acres, give or take, and the land and cattle are guarded by 12 half Maremma and half Serplaninac guard dogs. This particular breed is big. The head of my largest male and largest female is level with the middle of my ribs, and I'm about 6'2", so you can imagine just how big they all are. All my dogs are trained to patrol the limits of the pasture and help clean the calves right after they're born. They are also trained to guide any other people who come onto my property directly to me, and they can be very protective of me, their turf, and the cattle. I've seen these dogs literally tear apart coyotes that have gotten too close to the herd, but otherwise they're gentle giants. Now that I've given you all the background you need, let's get on to the story. So I was patrolling my fence with one of my females, Freya, who's a total kiss-up, to make sure that the fence wasn't knocked over by deer, when I heard Freya huff and bark. I looked over to where she was pointing and saw my 2 males, Fenrir, male, and Rosta, which means brawler in Norwegian, and is female, were escorting a whole family towards me. There was a husband, wife, boy, and a girl, who were all wearing swimwear. Once they were near me, I called my dogs over to me. The father immediately loudly complaining that the dog had tried to attack him and his family. I merely raised an eyebrow and said, "Sir, if that was the case, you wouldn't be standing here right now." And then he started asking for a park ranger or manager of the nature reserve, to which that got me confused. I then said, "This isn't a nature reserve, it's a private ranch. Why would there be a nature reserve in the middle of a bunch of corn and soybean fields, i.e. farming country?" And then the mother piped up, "Well, it looked like there might be a nature reserve, so we just thought it was." I could only shake my head in disbelief at what I was hearing. The mother went on to explain that they had come here to look for a place to swim since the local lakeside beach was too full, and they found my creek and thought it would be a good place to swim. And not long after, my dogs found them and brought them to me. I apologized for yelling and getting upset, but I told them that they needed to leave. But the dad insisted that they were going to swim and that I can't make them leave, and how it's a free country and he can go and do as he pleases because he's a sovereign citizen. I look at him and ask, "Did that hurt?" To which he asked, "Did what hurt?" And I said, "When all that stupid fell out of your throat, because you're not a sovereign citizen. That stopped being a thing back when Abe Lincoln died. You aren't allowed to trespass on private land. Now then, I'm going to tell you again. You need to go back to your vehicle and leave right now." At this point, the dad starts getting red in the face and starts yelling that I'm not as smart as I think I am and how I'm not going to make a fool out of him in front of his family, which he was doing all on his own, and I said as much. While this guy is ranting and raving, my dogs start to growl while putting themselves in front of me, as they know to do, and I start getting worried that this guy will set them off. I don't want that, for his sake more than anything else, since, as I mentioned, these dogs have killed coyotes. I don't want to see what they could do to a human. I try to calm my dogs down, but the dad decides that he's going to act out in anger and insecurities and makes a grab for me, and my heart stops for a moment as Fenrir knocks the guy down and has his snout right in his face, ready to grab him by the throat. I yell at Fenrir, "Fenrir, no! Leave it! Come!" Unfortunately, he listens and comes back. I then shoot out the dad, once again for trespassing, picking a fight, provoking my dogs, and almost getting himself killed, all for the sake of proving how much of a man he is. I helped him up, brushed him off, and checked to make sure that he wasn't bitten. I try and calm the woman and kids down and tell them one last time that they need to leave. I shoo the dogs away and guide the family back to their car. They got back in their car that had been parked on the other side of the gravel, and I once again apologized for what had happened. The dad, who had calmed down and apologized as well, before starting his car and driving off. I never had anything come of that scenario. While it still irritates me to no end at how stupid and entitled that family was, the dad most of all, how that stupidity and entitlement almost got them killed, I'm just glad that everything worked out okay, and hopefully they learned a lesson. I guess it goes to show that no matter what, the craziest things can happen to anyone. Our next story is posted by Serene Poet 1, entitled Ex-Daughter-in-Law Deserves the House. Background. My son and ex-daughter-in-law were together for around 10 years and married for a year and a half. I thought they had a really solid relationship. My son caught her cheating on him about 8 months ago and graciously allowed her and her boyfriend to rent the house that he owns outright. My kid is a good man and very empathetic. Now she says that he owes her the house because her daddy was looking to buy it before he died. This all came about because he wants to sell the house and evict them. He has literally given her everything that she's ever wanted. He's always supported her and even helped her get out of an abusive relationship. I know it's not much, but it's my second encounter with an entitled person in my family. Update. Ex-daughter-in-law deserves the house. So she's out. Apparently her plan was to move to Kansas, which is funny enough where my ex-husband lives and she knows. The house that my son owns was purchased before the marriage and her name was never on the deed. Sadly, you can't get insurance on a house that's sinking into a foundation. As for the place that he's living, that burned down and they had insurance. I know it's nothing dramatic, but I promised an update between the ongoing stress, then me dealing with Ida stuff. I apologize that it took so long. If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comment section down below. Our next story is posted by Victor117. Karen doesn't realize I'm a citizen and tries to enslave wife and I with fake debts. This story is about somebody more well off than I expecting me to meet their financial obligations while demanding that I falsify medical records and commit insurance fraud while withholding our pay. Basically, my wife and I had just immigrated back to the US and needed jobs and a place to stay. We thought we had struck gold when a fabulously wealthy woman hired me as a groundskeeper and maintenance guy and my wife as a cook and maid for her elderly parents. The pay was low, but part of it involved being able to live rent-free in the second house on the estate. The elderly couple were extremely senile, but the sweetest old folks you could imagine. It was a really nice property, so for a few months everything was great. Then about 3 months in, my wife noticed the pantry, which itself was bigger than our living room, was not being restocked by the grocery delivery company that normally did these things. We contacted our employer, who flew into a rage that managing that sort of thing was our responsibility, so she canceled the delivery service without telling us. It became apparent that she fully expected us to notice and take care of it ourselves. When I asked her how she expected us to buy groceries for her parents when she didn't even tell us that she had canceled the service, she became extremely irate. Direct quote, "Why the hell do I sign a check to each of you every week for?" Yeah, this witch honestly thought that we should be using our personal paychecks, which were not very big, to pay for her parents' upkeep. After much deliberation, she begrudgingly gave us her credit card to go out and buy groceries for her parents, who added to our workload at no extra pay. But we didn't have anywhere else to stay and no other jobs lined up, so we just dealt with it. Well, another few months go by and she contacts us again. She wants us to sign something. Paperwork shows up and it's a request for medical documentation from the insurance company. This chick wants us to attach our timesheets to it, sign it, and send it back to the insurance company. Well, I read it, and it became apparent that she has elder care insurance to pay for live-in nursing services, and has told them that we're nurses so that she could try to get them to pay our wages. I contacted her to inform her that we have not provided medical care, nor are we licensed to, and will not fill out the paperwork. Cue the mother of all tantrums. Karen goes nuts, screaming into the phone about how much she is done with us and that we owe her, how she will report us for neglecting her parents and then call immigration on us and have us deported. I don't think she realized that I'm a citizen and my wife immigrated legally. I tell her that what she's asking us to do is fraud and that I'd rather be fired than arrested for a felony. I tell her that she has 90 days to find replacements for us and we will be moving out. Things devolve into screaming about how much money she has and how she's besties with the cops and a bunch of expensive lawyers to sue me with. I suggest that she ask one of those lawyers how it would feel defending her for insurance fraud and hang up. My wife and I continue our service for the old folks while looking for a new place. because they were actually super nice and the situation wasn't their fault. They were also very senile, mistaking us for other people they know and forgetting that they had kids, etc., etc. So they can't be held accountable for their daughter's behavior as they lack any ability to intervene. Then, instead of paycheck, I get a bill for the last 8 months of rent and a note saying that she isn't paying our wages until we pay her back for everything we owe her, plus interest. She has valued our rent of the second house provided in the contract at more than what she pays us monthly, so that we would never actually be able to pay it off. Yeah, this witch actually tried to make us into indentured servants. So without responding, I continued to perform my duties, studiously keeping logs of our hours and retaining all of the receipts for how much more we owed her. 90 days go by without a paycheck. We purchased groceries using the card that she had provided, which she added to our debts. We document everything. About a week before the 90 days, we contact 2 government agencies. First thing I did, I reported exploitation to the State Department of Labor. Second, Adult Protective Services and informed them that there was an elderly couple that requires a caretaker and isn't going to have a caretaker because their daughter has refused to provide it. Finally, we called her to inform her that she will be receiving these phone calls from these agencies shortly and that she should probably contact her attorney. There was about 60 seconds of dead silence on the phone, and then hysterical laughter and she hung up. Okay, not the response I expected, but in 1 more week we're gonna be gone. 8 hours later, she shows up in the driveway in a rental car. This witch bought a one-way ticket to come out to the estate and report us to the cops for trespassing on the property. This, of course, doesn't work out because we have tenancy in our contract, and if she wants us gone, she will have to utilize the legal eviction process. She then tries to claim that we're illegal aliens, which at first glance into our wallets and our IDs by the cops proves that false. She is starting to shriek at them about how if they knew who she was and how expensive her lawyers are. The cops have a look that is a unique combination of irritated and amused, that they're dealing with some moron and they aren't allowed to comment on it, and advise her not to talk to us or attempt to enter or go anywhere near the guest house. She moves into their house that night, presumably to take over our duties. I would go out on the balcony every day for a week before I left to drink my coffee and smile as I stared across the big, luxurious lawn to see her standing in the picture window, arms crossed, glaring death at me. To make a long story short, the expensive lawyers she had convinced her to pay us our back wages, in addition to the interest for violating state labor laws by withholding them. It turns out that slavery is still a crime. Who knew? Our next story is posted by Mama Bear 50. I know the manager. I live in a 4-story building. The ground floor is parking with 3 floors worth of units. I'm on the 2nd floor, so 3 floors up. My bedroom window and balcony face the alley, and I have a door from my bedroom to the balcony, and I'm always up very late. One night, at about 2 a.m., I hear a car idling in the alley. It was noisy, so I look out from the balcony. I see a couple get out of the car and pull stuff out from the trunk. It takes me a few minutes to realize the woman is setting out food and water for the feral cats that frequent the parking garage. The cats sleep, scratch, pee, and poop on and around the cars. I finally call out to the woman from the balcony to remove whatever she's trying to leave out for the cats because they are a nuisance and dirty. She responds in a haughty Karen voice. I know the manager and he gave me permission. I reply, really? Because we don't have a manager. These are condos and I'm on the HOA board. If you leave it out, I will trash it. The couple and the supplies were gone by the time I got downstairs. Our final story is posted by Sunshot Destiny. That wouldn't be right even if I was a doctor. So I work at a local hospital as a CNA. I do long hours, and while I try to have enough scrubs for regular work week, we haven't had one of those in a while. So I tend to wash my scrubs when I've used up the 3rd set after the 3rd shift. Yesterday I woke up early and went to do my laundry in the apartment's washroom. I put in my scrubs and associated garments and my workout clothes. I put in my detergent, quarters, and go back to make some food and start my morning rituals for getting ready for work. Setting the timer on my phone so finishes my usual routine. After an hour, my timer goes off and I go into the washroom to move my laundry when I pause. I didn't put any towels in, did I? Definitely not pink towels since mine are all blue. I definitely was not child-sized with being over 6 feet, and my sports bras were missing. Someone had stolen my laundry. Since the clothes were all wet, there wouldn't be enough time for a second round in the washing machine. Now, I'm not sure what other people would have done, but a set of scrubs is like $75 each, and I had to work that day. So I wasn't going to spend that money again, and I wasn't going to give an excuse that nobody was going to buy. Plus, they had pockets. The OR scrubs that they would make me wear don't, and as a CNA, I need my pockets, which is why I got the style with most of them. So I start knocking on doors, and luckily it was the second one I tried. This older lady looks at me, and I explain myself, and she just gets this look of, "Oh, pity me" look on her face. "Yes, I did take your clothes, and I'm sorry, but I needed to wash something for my kids, and I don't have any money." Which, okay, I get that times are hard and might have been sympathetic at this point until she kept going. "It's just that you are a doctor, and I know you have money, so I figured you wouldn't mind donating some of your house clothes for my kids." To which I explained the cost, or at least tried to, and she cut me off. "You work at a hospital, and hospitals always overcharge. I don't know why you're being so selfish." So at this point, I'm done. Even if that was true, it wouldn't be right. However, I don't think you thought this through. You do realize that I'm working with at least 5 different COVID patients last night alone. Never mind that one of my duties as a CNA is cleaning up feces and other bodily messes. Now, in actuality, I was wearing an isolation gown over my scrubs, and even then, the chance of getting COVID off of fabric is not high. But I've been covered in pretty much anything that comes out of a human. This is partially why I wash my scrubs separate and keep them away from other clothing. My workout clothes are the exception, as I wash them in hot water as well. I can't lie that I did enjoy looking at the horror on her face, and she had hurried to all but throw my clothes at me and slam the door. I managed to run them through another round that night after work and putting up with wearing OR scrubs for the day, but hopefully she learned a very valuable lesson. Don't steal clothes, kids, and especially don't steal scrubs. You literally have no idea where they've been or what's been on them. That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit post will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.